welcome back to Words About Books, which is a poorly spoken podcast. I'm Ben, and of course my co-host here is Nate, and we are concluding our discussion of Stephanie Meyer's breakout hit, Midnight Sun. This was initially all recorded in one session, which we have had to split into 3 parts due to time constraints. If you have not checked out the first 2 sessions, please go and do that. Otherwise, this is not going to make much sense. Last time we started our discussion of the book proper, started getting into some of the character depictions that differ slightly from the original Twilight, and we're going to continue on that discussion. Okay, the other thing that I think a lot of Twilight fans are really enjoying in this book is the depiction of Jasper's powers. I know.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, okay, so you have no idea what Jasper was doing.
So he can apparently manipulate emotions.
Yes.
And also he feels emotions.
Yeah, he's like a total empath.
So he feels the love between Bella and Edward. He's like, oh, I need to be around this more. And so does that mean like Jasper is, I don't know if I would say conditioned, but he is, what's the word? He's incentivized to want to release emotion powers that make everyone just really horny and in the mood.
I think for Jasper, it requires effort on his part to make people feel a certain way. I think genuine emotion is something he can just sit back and appreciate. So he does like to be around genuine emotion.
Yeah, Emmett at one point says, quote, it sounded like a bear choking. I'm like, dude, stop. That's...
Like we said, Stephanie, one change. It's the bear stuff.
Anyway, go back to Jasper and his...
So Jasper, in the first book, Jasper doesn't do anything. But
yeah, he does. I just read the first book, and he does a lot of things.
Yeah, but that is all, like, how much of that is off screen? How much of that does Edward know because he can sense it? Bella has no idea Jasper's doing any of that shit. Bella doesn't know Jasper's there for the Master Sabaoth Jedi battle meditation.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's something she just feels.
Bella doesn't know. She does know that Jasper fought the bad vampire, but I don't think she knows that Jasper just like came in, tore his head off like a bat out of hell.
Yeah, a bat out of a war-torn nation. I assume it's a civil war.
It's Mexico.
Oh, okay.
It's the Mexican War.
Better?
I think he did fight in the Civil War. I don't know, but he's in. Jasper is in vampire wars in the South. There's a big vampire war.
Yeah, he was. I saw that.
Yeah.
The Southern Vampire Wars. Wow.
Yeah. And then Jasper leads an army of newborn vampires.
How do you keep a vampire war secret?
You do it at night. I don't know, man. Like,
especially in Mexico. Yeah, you would glitter in the day.
Okay, Stephanie, 2 changes. The bears, and we're going to need some explanation of that vampire war.
And the gaslighting.
If you got time. And then the only other one that has a power is, well, Alice, who is awesome. Alice can see the future.
No. Well, okay, yeah, talk about Alice. I'm going to find their other powers.
Emmett doesn't have a power. Rosalie doesn't have
Emmett
a power.
has extra super duper strength. Ben.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, yes, he does.
I know the passage you're talking about. That's not what that means.
I'm pretty sure that's what that means. Also, Carlisle has his compassion, and Esme has the ability to love passionately.
I can tell you Emmett does not have super strength because he loses...
dude, it's even in this article. Esme's enhanced ability as a vampire is her ability to love passionately. That's actually the quote.
Okay, but Emmett does not have super strength because Bella, when she becomes a vampire, beats Emmett in an arm wrestling match.
Wow, that's bullshit. Why you gotta do dirty for Emmett like that for your stupid OC? I'm calling bullshit. He let her do it. I bet when she eventually breaks down for the 40th anniversary and she writes Breaking Dawn from the perspective of Edward or Emmett or whatever, he's gonna be like, yeah, Emmett was just messing with her and he let her win because he's got super D duper strength. He's built like a fucking brick shithouse who fucked a tank.
No, I was thinking like like the 40th anniversary. Stephanie Meyer's son is working with her on expanded Twilight novels.
Oh God.
No, what I was gonna say is the other cool power thing that is not in...
Renesmee, who I'm assuming is... God, that's a bad name. Tactile thought projection and shield penetration. Aro, whoever the fuck that is, tactile telepathy. Marcus has relationship identification.
Nate, there's a lot of vampires with a lot of powers, and if you're gonna keep going, we're gonna be here all night.
Relationship manipulation?
Yes, he can... Okay. He can manipulate...
Heidi has physical attraction. Okay.
Look, there's like 100 vampires. Are you gonna do this?
I think that's the power that Rosalie has. She's really hot. Oh my God.
Are we gonna keep going?
No, we probably shouldn't. Outcome manipulation. That's. Oh my God, Victoria has what's called enhanced self-preservation. What a crappy power. Some guy named Fred has repulsive magnetism.
Close the window, Nate. That's the only way we're going to be able to move forward. Like if you're going to read every vampire's power, there's a lot of vampires in Breaking Dawn.
Yeah, see, Rosalie Hale has beauty as her ability.
Okay, these are fan kids editing a Wikipedia article. Rosalie doesn't have a real power.
Yeah, I know. Beauty is a very unreal power. And vanity, but it is her power. Her X-Men power is to be really hot.
Kim Kardashian's made more money in a day than I ever will in my life, so there's something to that.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention the Cullens are super rich because they manipulate the stock market.
Yeah.
With magic psychic powers.
But no, speaking of magic psychic powers, okay, the way Edward and Alice interact, that is something that you can't get from Bella's perspective. And
yeah, Edward should date Alice.
It's my favorite part of this book. I absolutely love Edward and Alice working together to solve problems.
Yeah, really, Alice should have gone with them to defeat the Tracker.
Yeah.
We should talk about that. When should we get to the Tracker?
Well, if you want to talk about the Tracker, we could talk about the Tracker.
All right, here's the plot of Twilight. After all that romance stuff, at about like page 550 out of 650, the plot happens. So Edward's like, oh, I'm going to introduce you to my family. And they're like, hey, there's a storm coming. You want to play baseball? And I guess the bats and the ball don't explode despite the fact that...
Look, we've established that Stephanie Meyer is not like great at physics.
Okay.
You heat up that gas so it becomes a liquid.
Yeah. So...
That's got to be a typo. Because Stephanie Meyer seems to know not an absurd amount, but like knows more about cars than I would have thought.
I think that it was supposed to be heating up the liquid to a gas. I'm guessing because that's how it actually...
Did you notice like how obsessed with cars Stephanie Meyer is?
I did, but I'm a little numb to it because I read Paradox Bound, and that was also a car-obsessed book.
Maybe we should get Peter Clines and Stephanie Meyer together. What if Bella stepped through the gate and came back with a different Bella who's already a vampire? Problem solved.
Oh my God.
Now tell me about the Tracker.
Okay. So after they play some baseball, that alters the future so that these three vampires find them early. And the vampires are some guy who is not super important. I think it's like Laurent or something. Laurent. Yeah, because he's France.
He's French, yes.
There's a girl who isn't important in this book, but I guess she's the villain of like the next two books.
And she undergoes a dramatic change in appearance in between New Moon and Eclipse, at least in the movies.
Is it because she has a different actress?
Yes. They literally just fired the first actress and replaced her with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Did they ever say why?
Because Bryce Dallas Howard wanted the part, and she was a bigger name.
Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
They did not part amicably.
Well, okay.
Victoria, James, and Laurent.
Yeah, James is this guy who's like, wait a minute. You've got a human? I'm going to eat that. And Edward hisses at him, which is super cool on film, I'm sure, to watch these grown men hissing at each other. And so he decides, like, I'm not going to attack her here. It's 3-on-7. It's not going to end well for me, especially because I don't know if my crew's even going to back me up. But what I'll do is I'll wander off with them. They're going to show us the hunting grounds or whatever, and then I'll just kind of slip away, and then I'll come back, and I'm going to hunt her. And they come up with this. This is when the book actually kind of gets, like, okay for just a little while. Because they're like, shit, we've got to come up with this plan. This guy's not going to let her go. He's going to keep finding her. They go through a whole bunch of plans, like, well, we've got to save Charlie. Like, if we just leave, he'll, like, call the FBI and think we kidnapped Bella. Also, we don't want the vampire to eat Charlie. That's her dad. I guess we never mentioned who Charlie was. Charlie is this... I felt really bad for him.
Charlie's the only good character. Charlie's the only good person.
Yeah, I felt really bad for Charlie when Edward was like, yeah, Charlie just, like, he didn't move. He was just sad as shit watching his films or whatever. I was like, God, I feel bad for Charlie.
No, okay. We do have to talk about that scene in a minute, though.
Okay.
Because that was that made me upset.
So Bella is like, okay, here's the plan. I'm going to loudly tell my dad that I'm done living here, and I hate this place, and, like, I can't be trapped here. Like, basically, I'm going to say the same thing my mom said to him when she walked out on him, because my mom's a piece of shit, but I won't say that out loud. And then we're going to pack our shit up, and we're going to go back to the Cullens, and then we're going to split into 3 groups. So one group is going to watch Charlie just to make sure that the tracker's friends don't attack him. That group is Esme and, reluctantly, Rosalie, who pouts and throws a fit and just sucks, and I hate her. One group is Alice and Jasper, who are going to take Bella back to Phoenix, which is where Bella is originally from. They're going to hide her in a hotel. It's also where Bella says that she's going, so no one's ever going to think that she's going there. And then the third group is going to have a Bella decoy, which I guess is a bunch of footballs stuffed into a bag, and Edward, and Emmett, and Carlisle. And I was like, okay.
They do stuff about... I thought you were joking. I just remembered that is actually what they do.
That is actually what they do, yes. It's a bunch of footballs in a bag.
Scooby-Doo. Okay, I'm going to pause you there, though, because I've got to go back and I've got to talk about that Charlie scene.
Okay.
We didn't talk about why Bella came to this town in the first place.
Because her mom sucks and was tired of responsibility. She's allergic to responsibility. Growing up, Bella wanted a dog, and her mom said she was allergic, but she's really allergic to responsibility. Because her mom sucks. Go on.
Bella's mom wanted the ability to go anywhere at the drop of a hat. Basically... Even Bella, having a child was more than she wanted. And just to be clear, that's fine. Just don't have a kid. Like,
yeah, no one said that you had to have a kid.
Bella's mom is like, she's such a free spirit, and she just needs to go wherever the wind blows her. And Bella's mom, when she left Bella's dad, she took the kid, and she took the
Why
kid
did she take the kid?
From a guy who only wanted
a family, a wife, and a kid.
Yeah, he had a house in a place and a job that he had to show up to, and that was just too much for her.
Yeah,
and
I don't know why she took the kid.
He's the bad guy. Like, for some reason, I don't understand.
He's the bad guy? Because if that's the intention, I'm going to be pretty pissed off.
Bella's kind of estranged with him at the beginning. I don't know if it's just that she doesn't know him that well or that she didn't enjoy spending summers in Forks. I'm not sure. But their relationship is not good. And it gets better. Like, throughout the first book, Bella's relationship with Charlie is getting better. And that's what makes this scene so extra painful, is that from Charlie's perspective and from Bella's perspective, for Bella to have to do this, she was just really starting to get along with her father, and she has to go in and, like, rip his heart out so he won't follow her.
He's basically left stunned on the porch, and he's unable to respond.
What she says to him, she comes back from this date with Edward, like fucking furious and bawling, and tells Edward to get fucked. And she's running around packing her stuff. She's like, I'm going back to Phoenix, whatever. And he's like, what the hell's going wrong? Like, he naturally assumes, like, did Edward hurt you? And she's like, no, it's not that. And he's like, did he break up with you? And she's like, no, I broke up with him. And he's like, what's the problem? And she's like, the problem is I like him too much. And I don't need any more excuses to stay here. I don't want to wind up in this crap town stuck forever, just like Mom.
Yeah.
And then she takes off. And Edward's sitting in the truck going, ooh, I made her do this.
You just
I'm not good.
Destroyed this man. I was like, God, I feel really bad for Charlie right now.
Yeah, I was reading that, and Edward was like, oh, I'm not good. And I was like, you know what, Edward? I joke about how you're always like, oh, I think this is a bad idea, but I'm going to try to resist, and then you have no problem resisting. It was a bad idea. Too far. This has gone way too far. You are a piece of shit, Edward. You should be ashamed of yourself. And the only thing, as much as I love Alice, as much as I genuinely adore Alice, she really, like, she can't see the future so much as she can predict things within a certain margin of error. and they really should stop pretending that she can see the future.
Yeah, how did you not see the vampires showing up early because of the game?
Yeah, so I don't know if they're, like, I guess Stephanie Meyer could justify it by saying, like,
it's constantly changing.
Maybe Bella's power throws things off.
No, it doesn't. Don't lie to me, Ben.
There's little things like Bella, like Alice can't, her power can't factor in the wolves or the vampire hybrid child. Like there are definitely like blind spots in Alice's calculations, and because that's what they are. Her future sight is calculations, and they're like just the knowledge that there are certain things in the, like, certain variables in the world she can't account for renders her predictions like And so knowing her predictions are like 90%. Knowing, as they did, that these vampires were already in the area, they should not have played this baseball game. But for some reason, we need to have this final fight chase scene.
That's the best part of the book.
I'm sorry, go on. It's just that, like okay, well, even that Charlie scene, like, I'm saying how much it bothered me, but, like, in a good way. That was Stephanie Meyer actually, like, I cared about Charlie's feelings.
Yes, I'll admit that part.
And you don't even see that much of Charlie
in this book. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually watching that Cinema Therapy channel, and, like, the one compliment he said was, like, Stephanie Meyer must have had a real good dad, because Charlie is, like, the best character. I just want to get that out there. Team Charlie.
Didn't I already say Team Charlie? I think I did. I said that earlier.
It doesn't matter till I say it. Tell the rest of your story.
So they had a chase, right? This is a great part. It ends kind of poorly. So the Edward, Emmett, Carlisle, and a duffel bag full of footballs that's supposed to be Bella walk into a bar.
And nobody, like, wouldn't it be awesome if just nobody noticed? It's just a bag of footballs, like, with a wig that Edward sometimes hugs and kisses. It just works. It's the same.
I kind of want to read that book. Steph, if you could make a Twilight book from the perspective of the bag of footballs, much love.
Oh, dearie me.
So they take off for several hours. They're driving into, like, Canada at this point. They know that the tracker's following them, but he's keeping a safe distance. Every now and then, Edward can, like, hear a little bit of his thoughts as he's just right at the edge of that range. So he knows approximately where he is and how far he is. And their plan is they're going to lure him into a trap, and they're going to get him. But how that plays out on the page is we're going to drive into a national park so that he can't jump into the ocean because you can't track a scent through ocean.
Sharks do.
And then we're going to sprint at him really fast. That's not a trap. It's not a cunning plan. That's you turning around and running at him and hoping for the best. And it fails miserably. And I wrote in my notes, that was a really shitty plan.
Yeah, in the first book, I can almost guarantee this is one of those parts that, like, Stephanie Meyer took a long time to write because she didn't want to. In the first book, obviously, it plays out from Bella's perspective. So she goes to Phoenix with Alice and Jasper, and this is where Alice tells Bella how a person can become a vampire. And she spends time with Alice and time away from Edward. And so that's sort of where the tension is. She doesn't know where Edward's doing, if he's all right, if the tracker got him. And then eventually she gets that call from the tracker. On the flip side, what Edward was doing that whole time, like in the original Twilight plot, it doesn't really matter what Edward was doing this whole time. All that matters is he fails in his trap. Because she was stuck to the same plot, she had to write that.
It's a bad plan. And the tracker manages to evade them multiple times.
She could have put more effort into the plan, but yeah, this is where she's hampered by the fact that they're all gods. And so everything has to play out on this god scale. Like when you could run 300 miles an hour, that makes a chase kind of hard because you can be very far away in an hour.
Yeah. It was a bad plan, though. He was like, my plan is to try and outrun him.
The tracker jukes them once, and then they can't catch up.
And it's over. Yeah, it's over. And he gets in a plane, and he flies away. No, I thought the plan would be, we split the three of us up, we lure him to one of us, pretending like we don't know he's there, and then we all converge on him. Something like that. I thought that they were going to lay a trap. I didn't think they were just going to be like, all right, we're going to stop, we're going to turn the car off, and we're just going to run at him and hope that we have a higher top speed than he does.
Are you ready, Emmett? Get him!
That really was what it was like.
They don't even discuss the plan. Edward's just like, get him!
And again, they probably should have brought Alice with them because she could have just looked into the future and, oh, here's the way he's going to go. Here's what he's going to do.
Well, I don't know about that because she couldn't look into the future and see Bella getting her femur stomped in half.
Yeah, and that... Okay, so that's how the end of the book is. Tracker turns out to be the Joker. Yeah, he flies to Phoenix. He finds tapes of, like, Bella's mom or something at a dance studio? I don't know. But he records him, like, beating the shit out of Bella. And it's like, this is kind of unpleasant to watch. Like, this is...
Yeah, I don't remember there being a recording in the first one. But I guess that's because it plays out from Bella's perspective.
Yeah, this guy is basically the Joker.
Bella does know. Yeah, because she tells Alice to watch the tapes. But... Oh, yeah, and that's the other twist, is that guy was the same guy who was... He was going to kill Alice.
That was dumb. I would rather just have Alice's...
That was fan service.
Yeah.
That was fan service.
Was that not in the original?
Well, it might have been, but that might be some of the time Alice spent in Phoenix with Bella talking about that. I forget when you get Alice's backstory, but you do get it.
In this book, it was she woke up and she saw future visions of people calling her Alice, and that's how she figured out her name. And then she just went with that.
Alice's backstory is that she had visions. They thought she was insane. They committed her to an insane asylum. It was very abusive and terrible, and eventually she was turned into a vampire.
Yeah, the cure for schizophrenia is vampirism. Didn't you know?
Well, she wasn't schizophrenic. She was psychic.
But that's the cure, Ben. They're the same thing in this universe.
It's the cure for people abusing you, because then you can just rip their limbs off.
Cool.
Bella knows.
Yeah.
She wants
it. He bites Bella. James does. Edward comes in, gets James off. James gets destroyed by Emmett and Jasper off screen. And then Edward practices the art of pulling out by pulling out that venom from her. Sucks the venom right out of her, so she doesn't become a vampire.
I hated that. I hated that in Twilight, and I hated it in this. I want Bella to be a vampire. I want that for her. I want her to be able to do cool vampire shit.
And then the book ends with Bella's shitty mom seeing her in the hospital. Her mom is just the worst.
Oh my god.
And Bella makes all these excuses for her. And also, Bella basically had to raise her own mother and do all the chores in the house and cook and clean. And it's like, that's abuse. That's just straight up abuse.
Okay. So Bella gets the shit kicked out of her by James, and then she winds up in the hospital, and they have to, and this is equally ridiculous in Twilight, they have to fabricate some kind of story for why all the Cullens are there, and Bella is in the hospital, which you could definitely tell, as Stephanie Meyer was writing, she did not have a plan for. So Alice has to hastily come up with the most bullshit plan I have ever seen in fiction.
What are you talking about? That was a stellar plan.
In Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the standard for this sort of fiction, the parents are just never around. And we don't talk about it. It's a flaw, yes, but it's a flaw that allows the plot to happen. It's the flaw in a lot of teen media. Like, where are these kids' parents when they're out having these adventures? Charlie should have just been away. Charlie should have just been away on business, and, like, they should have just had it happen in Forks. I don't know, but, like, being forced to come up with this story at the end... Like, Bella, why are the Cullens in Phoenix? Why is Bella in Phoenix? Why did they go to Phoenix? Stephanie, why did they go to Phoenix? This is so dumb. Because now they have to come up with a situation. There's no way the Cullens aren't going to jail for this. Like, I'm sorry. But the plan they come up with, and this is, like, so ridiculous to the point of comedy, and even Stephanie Meyer has to laugh.
Before that, let me at least mention that they steal at least 2 cars and cause a massive pileup on Arizona traffic way before any of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
So the cops are already looking for the Cullens. The plan they concoct is that Edward, Alice, and Carlisle followed Bella to Phoenix. That's creepy. Then they called Bella to invite her to their hotel. Bella walks up the stairs to their room. She gets past the first flight of stairs where there's a landing with a window. Then she starts walking up the second flight of stairs, falls down the second flight of stairs, through and out the window, and then falls another story to the ground, and shattering her leg and getting the shit cut out of her, where she loses much of her blood. And then... I say obviously that's hilarious to imagine. Even Stephanie Meyer has to laugh because when they call Bella's parents, both Charlie and Renee, they tell them that story and they're like, ha, classic Bella.
It's funny because she almost died.
And even Edward is like, it's kind of weird that they believed that, isn't it?
Yeah, you definitely would think more like, oh, Edward went there and in a fit of teenage rage beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. It definitely looks like that.
It definitely looked like someone beat the shit out of her and intentionally broke her leg, but, you know.
Well, the only reason they get away with the leg thing, I think, is because the break is so hard and so clean that it doesn't occur to them that a human stomping could do that, which I kind of get because it's like a vampire, like it's basically like a cement block fell on her leg or something. But yeah. So Bella wants to become a vampire now. Probably because of the pain.
Probably because of the beating she just suffered at the hands of another vampire.
But then we get something unique to this book. And that is an insight into Renee's mind. Bella's mother comes to visit her in the hospital, and oh my god, in case you were wondering all these years if you were supposed to have liked Renee. The answer is no. No, Renee is a horrible garbage person who, and I'm sorry, but you know what it's like, belongs in Florida. Are you okay?
Oh my god. Oh, that's brutal.
I have a highlight where Renee wants to go back to Florida. She's like already bored.
Yeah, she shows up and she's like, well, good news, Bella. We can move to Florida. He got signed. Your stepdad. I don't fucking remember his name. I know I didn't ask you what you wanted or anything like that, but like...
We're going to
We're
Jacksonville.
going. And my here's the thing. Why did they name their kid after this septic system of a person?
I got two things to say about Renee, but the first thing I want to read a quote from the book. This is from Bella. This is Bella. She saw that her mother was restless, uneasy about a long-term substitute job at Jacksonville Primary School that would be given away if she wasn't available soon, but still determined to be with Bella while she was in Phoenix. It wasn't particularly hard for Bella to convince Renee that she was just fine and that Renee should go back to Florida. Her mother left 2 days before the Cullens did. She left her alone with the Cullens. Who she doesn't know, who, by the way, she kind of got the vibe that they were serial killers when they first met, who, by the way, are kind of maybe the real... I could tell you right now, if it was me in the hospital and my girlfriend's family was there, and my mom would not have believed this story for 2 seconds. If my mom is listening to this, she is like, her IDTV brain is kicking in. And she is like, she's calling bullshit all over this.
Yeah, if my daughter, if the story is she fell down 2 flights of stairs and out a window, no, you abused her, you beat the shit out of her, and now here you are. Like,
yeah, and Charlie can't come because Charlie has to testify in a court case. You could get a recess in that court case if your star witness's daughter just fell out a fucking window. Like, no judge is gonna be like, no, we got to get this. I got golf, and like Charlie should be there. Somebody should be there. I could see Renee leaving if Charlie was there, but oh my god, I hate
her. I hate her so much. She forces her kid to be a parent to her because she lacks the responsibility to raise a child.
The second thing is Edward can't read Charlie's mind. He muses that Bella's ability must be genetic, whereas Renee has this like screeching harpy mind that commands people to obey her.
Yeah, Edward made the thought like, I bet if she were a vampire, her thoughts would be really loud and no one would like her. And I don't know if I made a note, but I was like, no, that's the opposite. She would force people to like her.
Okay, conspiracy theory time, Nate. Isn't it kind of weird that everybody wants to protect Bella? That I kind of think that's what Stephanie Meyer was going for there.
I see. Because Charlie has a mind that is difficult to read, and Renee is a horrible person, but everyone caters to her. And so that, it's a Dune genetic experiment. I'm going to put up some blogs on the theories I have. Bella either being an ancient one. Yeah, she's either an ancient one or a Kwisatz Haderach.
So the other thing that, this is so much more frustrating in Midnight Sun than it is in Twilight. When Edward, I kind of understand better now why Edward is so set on like, I gotta leave Bella in New Moon, other than like they need to do the plot again. But Edward's like sitting there watching her in the hospital, seeing what she had to do, like seeing what she did to Charlie. I gotta leave. I gotta get out of this relationship. I gotta, for her sake, I gotta get out of this. And he goes to a church and he prays. And it is the edgelordiest thing I have ever read. I didn't pray to my God. I'd always instinctively known that there was no deity for my kind. It made no sense for immortals to have a god. We had taken ourselves out of any god's powers. So instead of praying to any god that would accept him, he prays to Bella's god. You know, the Christian god. He prays to God. And this is where it's mentioned that Carlisle has different ideas, in that Carlisle thinks God could accept vampires.
Nope, I'm pretty sure in the Bible, Jesus said something like, man, fuck vampires, yo.
I don't know, dude. Like,
Jesus Christ, 1221.
This was, it didn't strike me. Some people might say that this is like propaganda because of Stephanie Meyer's beliefs. I think this is just like the edgiest, hot topiciest thing. Edward curled into a ball in front of a church altar, like begging for Bella's God to give him strength, even though he is forsaken.
Why have you forsaken me? He's cutting himself and listening to death metal.
Edward had become so numb he couldn't see you there.
I get that one.
So yeah, he does that. Then you get the famous prom scene from the first movie. The only scene that wasn't shot in that disgusting blue filtered nonsense. And then it's the end, and Jacob is just like, tease, I'm a werewolf, and that's the end.
Is that what he says? Hey,
that's what he says to us, the audience. I'm a werewolf. Hey, Bella, I'm a werewolf. I was wondering if you could lead me on for a book. Okay. Edward will probably never leave me.
And then you get those weird people who are like, well, he wasn't attracted to Bella. He was attracted to one of her eggs.
That's not better. Not better.
No, that's dramatically worse, actually.
Like that's like the imprinting thing. I don't want to talk about it, but it's like
but you have to.
Everything about that is just worse. and like Stephanie Meyer, if I could ask her one question, it would be this about the Twilight universe. What is the difference between a werewolf imprinting and the way everyone else falls in love? Rosalie fell in love eternally with Emmett, mauled corpse, because he got mauled by a bear. And that's when she knew he was the one. It was also the first time she'd ever seen him.
Well, to be fair, that's how me and my wife met, so...
And Alice and Jasper, they were just fated to be together. She saw it in the future. Carlisle and Esme. Esme fell off a cliff or some shit, and then they were together forever.
Is that for real?
I forget how Esme came to be like critically injured.
You didn't answer my question on why they named their child after Renee.
God. The only reason I could think is because Bella can't hear Renee's thoughts.
Okay.
If I were Edward, I'd have been like, Bella, maybe
maybe we don't.
Maybe we call her like Katie or something. I don't like.
Yeah, not Renesmee. That's a bad name, first of all, and second of all, half of that name is a horrible person.
Yeah, maybe just like Esme too.
Esme Jr.
Esme's pretty all right. I don't got anything against Esme.
No, she didn't seem like she was ready to just abandon all of her responsibility to go move out with a guy who's carefree.
Fun fact, the actress who plays Esme is in The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, and she's actually got some acting chops. I like Esme. Very different character. Very different character. But look out for that. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to say. I thought it was okay. I do have, my three final questions I want to ask you for our final thoughts.
Okay.
Was this book a good idea? Did we need a third version of this story?
Are those the same? Are those one question?
That's one question. That's one compound question.
You're
not really equipped to answer it because you haven't read any of the other books.
Yeah. I'm sure you're going to say, well, it was a good idea. It was a look into this author's mind or whatever. And my thought was like... fuck that. I don't care about your literature bullshit. I don't want to study the text. You know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to use a similar argument that you used.
Dude, for a second I thought you were going to say I'm going to go back and read Twilight, and I was like, no, you're not.
No. Mr. Peter Klein's, or Peter Klein? What the fuck?
His name's Klein
and Peter Klein.
Oh,
okay.
No. That's next. Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Anyway, So you said something like, okay, we read 14, we liked 14, we read The Fold, we hated it. And your thought was, this is such a step backwards. And then you found out it literally was a step backwards. He went back in time and found an old story that he drudged up. How is that not what this is for Stephanie Myers? She's not creating something new. She's going back to what she had before and rewriting it from another perspective, which is, you said it was a writing exercise, which is fine, I guess. And I'm sure the fans wanted to see it, but I don't know. I guess maybe there's some value in that. But did she learn from writing the Twilight books to now? Which I don't know that one. I didn't read the others.
Stephanie Meyer was asked, would you rewrite another novel from a different character's perspective? And this was her exact response. No. I do not plan to ever rewrite another novel from a different perspective. Writing Midnight Sun was a very frustrating and slow, so incredibly slow, process, and I felt like my hands were always tied by the existing story. I only enjoy writing when I'm creating something new, so I will only write new things from now on.
Great. She agrees with me.
I think she does agree with you. Yeah. No, I think that is a point in your favor. I think I enjoyed reading it because as a writing exercise, it was the only way I could think to compare it is if you ever do any digital drawing or painting, sometimes it's interesting to, when you're drawing or painting, mirror the image, just like flip it, and you'll see certain mistakes you didn't notice when you were looking at it the other way. And that's kind of how I view this as a writing exercise. She kind of managed to say, like, okay, I've got this love story from a girl's perspective. Let me flip it and see what it's like from the guy's perspective. And you do start to see, like, oh, there's all these like problems that I didn't, I noticed them the first time, but they're really apparent now. And, what if I did that same exercise? Like, what if I took Partners in Crime from Edenverse and I do it from Jess's perspective? That story's going to suck. And some of that is like, yeah, it's not Jess's story, but shouldn't it have been? They were partners. So I kind of like the idea of it. Is it a good novel? No, it's objectively worse than Twilight.
Oh my God.
It is a step backwards in that sense. But the self-awareness Stephanie Meyer is showing in this novel, I think indicates to me that she has improved as a writer. I think she is, unlike Peter Klein's, sorry, Peter, I think Stephanie Meyer is aware of her problems. That being said, I think Peter Klein's is actually a better writer. I think we'll see. I'd have to see what Stephanie Meyer's next book is, but the Peter Klein's work I've read, like prose-wise and like technical skill-wise, Peter Klein's is a better writer. Stephanie Meyer has a more interesting story to tell, but she's not very good at telling it. And I do see signs that she's getting better, though. So as somebody who read the first one, I think this is a really interesting comparison. And as a writer especially, I appreciate the exercise. As a published novel, no, it's not good. But I don't think anyone realistically is reading this in a vacuum the way you did. So it's kind of interesting to get your perspective on that. And it does just confirm that, yeah, there's the story doesn't work from Edward's perspective.
Yeah. I think part of it was maybe like the mystery of what Edward was.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that answers my second question was going to be, who is this for? And I think we both agree.
Twihards.
I love that. Did you just come up with that?
Yes.
That's
yes,
awesome.
I
did. That's really good. That's way nicer than what my wife said to me.
Oh, are you saying that your wife is not a twihard?
God, no. My wife, though, loves shoujo manga. She loves Fruits Baskets, especially. At some point on this show, we are going to talk about shoujo manga, because I also like it.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
It's, shonen manga is boys, shoujo is girls.
Okay.
Little Japanese lesson for you.
I've been to Japan. My grandma is Japanese.
Well, then you should be telling me this, shouldn't you? Then I have a question just for us and the maybe 20 people who actually listen to the episode. Better or worse than Marked?
Who? So the romance was better because in Marked, they were acting like teens, but they were grown-ass adults. They had no reason to be acting like that. Whereas here, one is a teen, and one is, I guess, a teen trapped in an old body. Or I guess a teen who's lived a long time as a teen in a teen body. Whereas the plot of Marked, which I think was whiffed, by the way, very poorly done, because it was basically solved all in the background.
What we need is Marked from Ashlyn's perspective.
Yeah, we do. That's the plot.
Yeah, that's gold. That's gold right there.
Yeah, Marked from Ashlyn's perspective. Sarah Fine, make it happen. That solves all my problems with Marked right there. I guess I should say, though, that for all the fucking pages in Twilight, not a lot sticks out to me. Whereas in Marked, I still remember that stupid-ass funeral and him falling into the sewage river. The lady comes up in the elevator with Chinese food and just fucking obliterates Eli's, like, all of his organs with the machine gun. Like, I still remember all that stuff, even though Marked was a swing and a miss. I think I'm leaning towards Marked here. But I definitely think the romance was handled far better in Twilight just because the ages matched the romance level.
I think... like, objectively speaking, I think you've got a point, but I'm going to have to be a douche contrarian and be like,
Also, Marked was half the length of Twilight.
I will tell you right now.
I just want to throw that out there.
Nate, I will tell you right now what puts Twilight ahead of Marked for me, and it is purely emotional, and it is not logical.
Charlie.
That fucking Linkin Park CD in her car.
You fucking dick.
Dude, It is such, like, I never would have imagined I would be nostalgic for the early 2000s. But,
yeah, because why would you be?
I had that CD in my car. Like,
So, if we read Marked 2, and, like, Eli has a Linkin Park CD.
Eli's listening to System of a Down. Like, no. Dude, no, it's not Linkin Park. It's just the whole atmosphere. Stephanie Meyer, for better or worse, and I think this is actually kind of part of the problem, she writes like a teen girl. And I apparently
Didn't we say Sarah Fine did the same thing?
Yeah, we did. But Stephanie Meyer writes like a teen girl for teen girls, and Sarah Fine is writing like a teen girl for adults in this one. But Sarah Fine also writes young adult fiction. So maybe if we tackled Sarah Fine's young adult fiction, we would say Sarah Fine's the better writer. Again, if we're talking about prose and like constructing a narrative, I think Sarah Fine is the better author. And in that sense, it's a shame she's not more popular. But no, there's just something about Twilight's story that just resonates with me, and it's the whole atmosphere.
Okay, you know what?
It's the whole atmosphere of the early 2000s.
Feel like I'm 5 years old, she laughed. I caught up so her feet were a foot in the air and whispered, "You don't look 5," into her ear.
Go ahead and read my note on that.
It says, "Oh, dear God."
Look, it's cringy shit like that. Dude, cringy shit like that. I believe a 17-year-old said that.
Oh my God.
Dude, it just puts me in that headspace of being 17 again. And if you told me at the time I was 17, I would be nostalgic for that. I'd have told you to go fuck yourself. But I'm nostalgic for that. Like, I don't know why. And God damn it, dude, I want Bella to become a vampire. Like, I want that. I want her to have that cool experience. I've over-identified with Bella. I'm sorry. I don't identify with Edward. Interestingly enough, I don't identify with Edward at all.
That's a good thing. That means that you probably shouldn't be arrested.
If I hadn't read Twilight, I'd have thrown this in the garbage. But I super identify with Bella, and I don't know why. I nothing in my life is like Bella's. But for some reason, it just like that Linkin Park CD in her car, like the awkward feelings of like an unrequited attraction, and then suddenly it's requited, and you're in this like whirlwind passion romance. Like, I don't know. I get that headspace. I guess I'm a big dumb baby. I don't know.
Twihard.
I do like that, and I will use it.
Yeah, you will.
Oh dear. Do you know, I just wanted to see what the Twilight fandom was up to these days, and I went to the Twilight subreddit, and you could probably guess what time we recorded by what I say here.
Oh, that's interesting. I also went to the subreddit, and I found some posts that were like, yeah, I like Bella's mom a lot less now, and
yeah,
I wanted to just post like, hey, you weren't supposed to like her.
Hey, no, I was going to say what I saw was nothing but fucking Bernie Sanders photoshopped into scenes from Twilight. I saw Bernie Sanders in his little mittens photoshopped onto Edward going like, hang tight, Spider Monkey. And just people like shipping Bernie and Edward.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
I saw one, a guy walking over with like one of those fold out chairs, and he throws it out to open it up, and then he sets it down, but Bernie's on it the whole time. So he's just setting Bernie Sanders next to someone.
Oh, goodness. All right, dude. We more than need to wrap this up. I have no idea how I'm going to edit it.
Yep, it's, let's see, we're at a little less than 4 hours of material. 3.5 hours. All right. So next week, we're going to be reading a short story, The Veldt by Ray Bradbury. Is that right?
We're going to read The Veldt by Ray Bradbury. If you want to listen to that episode, I encourage you to read the short story as well. It's short, obviously, but like even by short story standards, it's not very long. I think there's copies available free online, but it's also part of the Illustrated Man collection. It's going to be a discussion-heavy episode because it's a short story, but there's a lot to unpack there. So you'll get the most out of it if you read along with us this time.
Yeah, and then what are we reading for the book club next month, Ben?
My Punishment. We are reading... You know, I was so excited. Like, I was like, yeah, I want to read something else. Like, maybe I'll get started early on the next month's book. And I looked on the schedule to see what the next month's book was, and it was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. And I promptly went out and got myself a William Gibson novel to avoid reading that for another month. So, we're reading Ready Player One by Ernest Cline.
Audiobook by Will Wheaton.
It seems like the kind of book that would be read by Will Wheaton.
It really does.
Oh God, this is going to be a bad one. Like, I'm going to be noticeably angry.
Yeah, Ben loves the 80s.
I like parts of the 80s. I like synthwave.
He loves 80s nostalgia. Ben is a big fan of 80s nostalgia, so he's going to love this book. It's going to be a fun time. If you wanted to see Ben do what I did for the Mountains of Madness, that might be coming up. So definitely stay tuned for that. Read along with us so you know just how great this book is.
All right. Yeah, you know the drill. Check us out on Twitter at WABpod. Additional show notes and commentary at blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja. You can check that out. Probably around the time this podcast goes out, Nate's planning on having a couple of articles up.
Yeah.
I've actually got something in the works.
I've got another thing I want to plug.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Go download The Story of StarCraft. We've got 2 more months to get 50 total downloads. It's at 24 downloads. It's almost halfway there. We've got 2 more months. If we get to 50, Ben has to stream the original StarCraft.
That's true. If you want to see me stream the original StarCraft, go download Nate's experimental episodes.
All right.
My voice is gone.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh, boy. I wonder if this is going to be a 3-parter.
Oh my god. I mean, that'd be fine if it is.
I know we try not to do that, but I enjoy talking about Twilight. I hope you all enjoy listening to it, because I love this. I could do all these books. Nate can't, but I could.
I can talk about them, but not read them.